Welcome into Minnesota Vikings Now by Chat Sports. I am Tom Downey. A Vikings preview plus some injury notes as the final injury report is out for Saturday's game. That's coming up, but we will also break down the roster moves that have been made by Minnesota before NFL Week 15. 4 moves in total. Quarterback Kalon Barnes, who will probably help most on special teams, more so than actually being a contributing cornerback. He has been signed to the active roster along with linebacker Kwenkeu. You might have seen Kevin O'Connell, the head coach, having quite some big praise for Kwenkeu as a potential special teamer. Sheldon Day to the practice squad, and then Blake Brandel placed on IR, effectively ending his season. Some more here on the cornerback room because, man, things have banged up. Caleb Evans, Andrew Booth, your 2 top picks are out for the year. Or at least they're on IR, I should say. You've added Kalon Barnes and Duke Shelley in recent weeks. He just didn't have any bodies at corner. Not great. And we will also get to Cam Dantzler, who may or may not play this week later on in today's show. Also, one quick note on the offensive line. Brandel goes to IR. Minnesota's still fairly deep there between Lowe and Reed and Schlotman and Aliudo there on the back end at guard, who can also, of course, play some tackle. Now, if you want the Vikings to beat the Colts and establish themselves as at least a better shape than what they were last week, then like the video. It's backed by the science. We have all the data here at Chat Sports. The more of you who like the video, better chance the Vikings have of winning. So like the video for me right now. Minnesota is a 4-point favorite this week against the Indianapolis Colts. This game played on Saturday, I should say. Correction, it has been changed around, so just ignore that part. Not a big deal. Vikings are favored at home, but Vegas continues to not really believe in this team. There has been doubts all year long around Minnesota of how good are they actually. And it is incredibly rare to have a team be 10-3 and have a negative point differential. They're a top 10 scoring offense and a bottom 10 scoring defense. They have won only close games this year, and a couple blowout losses equates to a negative point differential, which really is a better indicator of future outlooks, specifically next year, than it is how good of a team you are in that given calendar season because, hey, luck's a thing in the NFL. The Vikings are coming off a rather disappointing loss against the Detroit Lions, but they've also beaten good teams. Jets, Patriots, one of them might end up being a playoff team. The Bills might get the number 1 seed in the AFC. Maybe the Vikings should be named the AFC East champs this season. The Colts, meanwhile, yes, they beat the Raiders in Jeff Saturday's first game as interim head coach. Brutal loss to Philly, painful loss to Pittsburgh, and then it got out of hand real quick in the fourth quarter against the Dallas Cowboys, which, should raise some red flags there from that standpoint. That's not typically the way you see things go in terms of a game that was kind of close for 3 quarters and then fell apart after that. Injury notes coming up next here, but first, who do you have winning this game? Head down to the comment section, the pinned comment to be exact. Type in V for the Vikings, or type in C for the Colts. If the ad break comes here on YouTube, that's fine. Let whatever ad is going to play. Head down to that pinned comment and let me know. Injury reports are finalized for Minnesota. 5 players labeled as questionable. Decent chance all of them are able to go. Garrett Bradbury was limited all week at practice with the back injury. He's questionable. I think he plays. Cam Dantzler and Patrick Jones. Jones being a recent addition to this list with illness. He was fine Tuesday, Wednesday, and then got sick Thursday. They're questionable. Decent chance. Danielle Hunter popped up midweek with a neck issue, which is troubling. We'll see about him. And Harrison Phillips also dealing with a back injury. But Kevin O'Connell did say decent chance all 5 are able to go. On the Colts side of things, they've already ruled out 2 players, plus another backup corner. Brandon Faison is doubtful. Now, Kenny Moore is one of the premier nickel corners in the NFL. And Justin Jefferson will probably get plenty of reps at the slot receiver spot because without Kenny Moore, it's not nearly as good for Indy. And then kind of reserve receiver Michael Strawn is out with a concussion as well. Let's talk key to the game. Number 1, how about your pass defense? Maybe I just put shows up for once. This has been a topic many a time here from us, you, everyone out there in the Vikings world. The pass defense has not nearly been good. That ties into both your coverage, your scheme, your secondary, your front 4, your pass rush, all of it. It's got to get figured out. Because you can beat Indy with not a great coverage unit because they're not very good at football. But when you get to the playoffs, this is the first step in having a better and more successful pass defense. All right, next question for you guys. Predict the score for me of this Vikings-Colts game. I assume we're all picking the Vikings to win, but drop that score prediction in for me in the comment section right now. Key to the game number 2. Hey, when Justin Jefferson balls out, good things tend to happen for Minnesota. He has been unquestionably the best wide receiver in the entire NFL this year. He already has 99 catches for 1,500 yards and 6 scores. If I had told you this was Jefferson's stat line this season, you would have said, wow, that's awesome. I'm happy with that. He's got 4 more games to go, folks. He could legitimately push for 2,000 yards this season. Now, week 18, they might not be playing for anything, but it is worth monitoring. If you want to bet on the Vikings or any NFL game, head over to BetUS, chatsports.com/bets, promo code CHAT125, $100 down. They're going to give you an extra $125 for free. It's a fantastic deal, the best sportsbook deal out there. Minimum $100 down gets you $125 for free, the 125% deposit bonus. Chatsports.com/bet, promo code CHAT125. The betting odds, by the way, for this game, if you want to bet on it, if you missed it earlier, Minnesota's a 4-point favorite. I like them to win. Covering has been dicey for Minnesota, but 4-point spread, just go moneyline Minnesota. I like it. Key to the game, number 3, a better ground game. Overall, Dalvin Cook has been solid enough this year for the Minnesota Vikings. He's going to pass the 1,000-yard mark. He's got 8 touchdowns, 4.5 yards per carry. But there have been too many feast or famine games out of Dalvin Cook this year. I think that really comes down to your offensive line more than anything else. I mean, we saw a famine game against Philadelphia, 6 for 17. Against Washington, 17 for 47. And then 2 of the last 3 weeks, 22 of 42 against the Patriots, 15 of 23 against the Lions. Now, touchdowns mixed in their help, of course. You need the good version of Dalvin Cook, the guy who averages more like 5 yards per carry. You can run against Indy's defense. They're a good defense, especially with that offense, but I'd like to see a bit more consistent Dalvin Cook. Hell, I'd settle for 13 for 77 like he did against the Miami Dolphins. Just a thought. Key to the game, number 4, the flip side. Contain Jonathan Taylor. The Colts' offensive line is not very good, and they will try to run the football as best as they can. Now, that's been an issue all year long. The consensus number 1 fantasy pick this year has been anything but not great production, says the guy who took Jonathan Taylor number 1 overall in fantasy. I did not make the playoffs, by the way. 4 touchdowns, 4.5 average. Taylor has been not as dynamic as he was last year. And if he goes off, Indy tends to win games. Don't let him go off, they'll be in much better shape. What is your confidence level, then, in the Minnesota Vikings getting a win over Indy? Scale this from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Let me know. How confident are you in Minnesota getting a win this week? My final key to the game, do not play down to your competition. They've done that consistently all year. And not only that, they've also let teams crawl back into games at other points throughout the year. They have consistently played 1-score games, right? You beat up on Green Bay week 1, you lose to Philadelphia, 4-point win, 3-point win, 5-point win, 8-point win, 8-point win, 3-point win, 3-point win, blowout loss, 7-point win, 5-point win. Don't play down to your competition. Teams like the Saints and Bears and Cardinals are not good, and neither is Indy. So take it to them this Sunday. Or Saturday, excuse me, I should say. My bad. I'm so used to Sunday games, right? Take it to them. Go up by 21 entering the first half, and then find a way to close out the game. No backdoor covers or garbage time, whatever. Just be a complete team. I don't think Minnesota yet this year has played a complete 4-quarter game. They were close, I think, maybe in week 1, but of course it's week 1, so everyone's kind of a bit sloppy anyway. You can put together a complete 4-quarter game, and you can win this by 20. Now, I doubt that's going to happen, but I'd like to see some more overall good plays out of Minnesota. Remember, folks, we will be live for the Minnesota Vikings game against the Indianapolis Colts. My boy Patrick Seatman, our big Vikings fan, will be live for it. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit that big red button right now.